And BC's, our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free, without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the Podcast for Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new radio for small business. Connect.
Profit.
On the phone, you're too much at once, and I literally just put all my clothes together in the same pile and thought they would all come out nice and beautiful and clean. And to my surprise, the wool sweaters came out a couple sizes too small.
Oh, boy.
Which is a little disconcerting, considering that when you're in grad school, you don't have money to replace wool sweaters. So I immediately started thinking, how can I rectify this? Because the last thing I want to do is have to either not have a sweater, it's frost and it's cold, or try to buy a new one. So I looked for home remedies and thought one worked really well. And I quote unshrunk end quote sweater that I wore to class at Harvard Business School. And over the course of the day, it continued to shrink to the point where it was a crop top.
So you're a grad student, you're doing 50 things at one time, and you throw your sweater in with all the other clothes into the dryer. What happened next?
I said to myself, this can't stand. I need these sweaters back. I don't have the money to replace them. And I go shopping. I need to be studying. So I tried to find home remedies that would fix it. And I found one that I thought worked really well. And that was basically water and conditioner. And I fixed my sweater, went to class, and then proceeded to watch my sweater shrink back to a crop top in the middle of class at Harvard Business School, which is not appropriate. So I requested a jacket from a friend and then went home frustrated, but more importantly, determined to actually fix shrinkage in the laundry room.
And that's what the idea for your business came from. So it's your business is Unshrink It. Talk about the process where you say, okay, I'm going to become a mad scientist, or what happened?
Well, the process was that Harvard Business School had just launched a program where they would give students $5,000 to start a micro business. And I convinced my 5 other classmates that this would be a brilliant idea. Why not? We have the money and the time to tinker around for a few months and try to crack the nut on shrunken wool clothing. And thankfully, they agreed with me that it'd be more fun to do than a mobile app or a website. And so we started doing some research on what makes wool shrink. And Nate had a background at Johnson & Johnson during product development and was really comfortable looking at old wool textbooks and researching the science behind things. And he proceeded to make a bunch of suggestions for things that could work. And as a team, we tested them out over a few months.
So eventually you get a product and a business that's successful enough for you all to think about raising capital. Can you talk about that process where you decided to say, hey, we're going to bring on some new investors?
Well, in many ways, the process was the decision to raise capital did not come for a while. So the $5,000 that Harvard gave us basically lasted us through all the initial R&D as well as the legal protections to file a patent. And it got us through the summer in incorporating the business. It was only in the fall where we realized that the product actually had demands beyond our family members and friends, that we first did an internal round of fundraising amongst the founders, because if you're not willing to put a little bit of skin in the game as a co-founder, then, what are you doing? And that got us actually to the first sweater season, so September through May. We used our own funds to do that. It was only once we started to get interest from retailers and from international distributors that we said to ourselves, perhaps we should look for external funding. Now, remind the fact that once we graduate from graduate school, we're going to have loans and bills and families to provide for, and we should probably try to cover a salary. So that was the catalyst to looking for capital, and we looked at it in all the most traditional places with angel investors, with accelerators, with families and friends, and with a couple of VC firms in the DC and Boston area.
So I like the way that you were getting interest from retailers and wholesalers and things like that, because that probably made your pitch a lot more appealing. How did, I guess, your experience with pitching venture capital firms and angel investors, how'd that help you when you got onto ABC's Shark Tank?
Tremendously. By the time we went on Shark Tank, we had already done close to 50 pitches in front of VCs, angels, professors, friends who were going into private equity and venture capital. And more importantly, we had basically finished up our entire degree. So I literally had a diploma on the wall by the time I was filming at Shark Tank. So you felt as though you had the academic credentials behind you, but also a great deal of practice. Now, Shark Tank is a completely different animal, literally. The pressure of being on national television, the pressure of being in front of billionaires and multimillionaires, the pressure of knowing that you have anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours to make an impression about your product or your service, and they're going to judge you either very harshly or at least very critically about what you're doing.
So you mean you weren't on the carpet for only that 12 minutes that they showed on the TV show?
Oh, no. Nate and I were on that carpet for about 2 hours. So,
do you at least get a bathroom break or something? I don't know.
No. The thought is that they don't want you to be able to go and look at notes or to confer with one another. It's really supposed to be you and the pressure cooker. What do you do in a moment of intensity to really sell your product and to sell yourself?
So you've made the pitch. You've made 50 pitches before you got to Shark Tank. You're standing on the carpet for 2 hours. Can you talk to us about not necessarily, what was going through what was going through your mind? What's the mentality and mindset that you had to have in order to really repel all the different things that they would ask about your business and make sure you knew your numbers? What's the mentality you had to prepare for?
It's a great question. I will tell you that the best thing, that the mentality that served me best was, frankly, being exceptionally confident that I had a product that truly was worthwhile, that I myself was a person of integrity, and that our business, although not perfect to everyone, had a lot of strong qualities to it. So it's a sense of confidence flying in. And I will tell you, the first 5 minutes, you feel buffeted left and right. They're asking you question after question. They're overlapping. There's a sense of impatience because their time is valuable and they want to find out as much as possible about you and the product as quickly as possible. And I recall thinking, I'm going to flounder here if I don't get my bearings, because I can't answer every question and I certainly can't answer overlapping questions. And so I told this to many people beforehand, and I'll just repeat it here, that I literally just stopped for a moment and thought to myself, well, if Mark, Kevin, and Damon ask a question at the same time, then why don't I listen for the questions, like truly breathe and listen and pick the question that I feel most prepared to knock out the ballpark. Instead of trying to parse out who deserves to be answered first, answer the one I want. So there was a moment in which that literally happened where 3 or 4 people asked the same question, and I happened to hear Kevin's question come out in a way that I thought we had prepared it well and it was going to make us look great. So I answered it, and he loved my answer. And to my surprise, so there's a momentary freak out session where you're thinking they're Damon and Mark, and I say, hey, you didn't answer my question. Instead, because my answer was so good to Kevin, they dropped their initial question and asked a follow-up to that one. So it created this wonderful domino effect where basically every question flowed from answers that I really had thought through how I wanted to answer it, and I thought we were going to represent us very well. And so it just continuously made us look better.
So you took control. Even though you weren't asking the questions, you took control in your mind and you said, hey, this is what we want to say about our business. And here it is. Here's the answer that I want to give you.
Exactly.
Okay. That's probably a good tip for anybody anywhere that's pitching, right?
I mean, well, it's great advice. It's hard to take. And I want to say, had Nate and I not practiced 15, 20 hours a week for almost 2 months on those questions, pausing and playing different Shark Tank segments and making ourselves answer questions as if we were the founders ourselves, of creating fake VC sessions where people grilled us for hours on end and we had to answer the questions. And if we didn't have that foundation of practice, I don't think I would have had the balls. Well, I don't have balls, but
hey, you can say it. We're on the internet. It's okay.
Okay. I wouldn't have had the guts to do that. But because I knew if I did try to take control in it, I took control over things that I thought we were really well prepared to do to highlight ourselves. That was why I was comfortable doing it. If you're not prepared, if you don't know your numbers, if you don't know your business, if you're trying to be a fake person, I can't tell you how many people, said that they were going to try to be a persona on Shark Tank. And Nate and I said no. Under pressure, particularly under pressure for an hour or 2 hours, you eventually revert to yourself. You might as well practice being yourself.
Desiree, I've got to tell you, you are a very wise woman, okay? You've probably dropped 5 or 6 golden nuggets in this few minutes that we've been talking. And just in case you're just tuning in, we're talking to Desiree Stoller, co-founder of Unshrink It. You've seen him on Shark Tank. You've seen him in other national television shows. Desiree, why don't you tell the listeners how to get a hold of you?
You can reach me at hi@unshrinkit.com, or you can go straight to our website, unshrinkit.com, and fill out the information on the contact page.
Awesome. Desiree Stoller, co-founder of Unshrink It. Thanks for taking your time out on Radio for Small Business.
You're welcome.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that you promise to share us with your friends. Here's something you like? Simply use the social share buttons at the bottom of the page to tell your network about the podcast For Business. It's simple, easy, and only takes 5 seconds. That's it, partner. You've made the Share All promise.
All new Radio for Small Business. Put your mouth where your money is. Radio for Small Business with HomeBiz.
It's Radio for Small Business, HomeBiz.com. Your host, Eugene Rowe. My next guest has luggage that folds. I'm about to get on a plane literally right now, and we need to talk to Mr. Stephen Hirsch of Biagi. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit, luggage that folds, okay, that's something interesting. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your business and your products?
Yeah, so Biagi makes innovative travel products, not only luggage that folds, but other products that make travelers' lives simpler. But our core product, like you mentioned, is foldable luggage because, as you know, luggage takes up a lot of space in your home, and this is an issue that nobody really has dealt with before we came along. Basically, we make durable, lightweight luggage that you could fold up and store easily in a drawer, on a shelf, under a bed, things like that.
And that makes sense. I literally have a whole corner full of luggage, and you can't fold it, you can't throw it under anything, and I've got a whole corner of one of my offices full with just empty luggage sacks. So that's a great idea. So
thank you.
What part of the world are you in, by the way?
I live in New York.
I know that eventually your business was able to get to the point where you were able to kind of start with raising capital and things like that, because I know some people have seen you on ABC's Shark Tank. Can you tell us about the journey to raising capital? Not necessarily the show, but the journey that you took to starting to raise capital.
So my company is pretty much self-funded by me and my partners. We don't borrow. That's really not our business model. We invest in our own business. We sell inventory. Once in a while, we'll borrow against purchase orders. If we get a big order from somebody, we might use a factor. I don't know if you know what a factor is. I'm assuming you do.
Yes, I do, yeah.
I guess your listeners don't know what a factor is. Basically, you get an order from a company, like let's say I do business with QVC, for example. They'll write me an order, and in order for me to be able to pay my factory before I get paid by them, I'll borrow against that purchase order.
So, and that's interesting. Most people think you get an order from, say, for instance, a Target or a QVC or somebody, and they automatically send the money. But it could be quite a while before, purchasers actually send you the cash, right?
Yeah, it could be 60 days or even as much as 90 days.
So when it comes to, I know you said you guys don't borrow necessarily. That's not your business model. There are probably a million people that would call you crazy. Tell us about the mindset or the thought process behind not borrowing against your company's assets.
Every business is different, and I wouldn't knock somebody for borrowing money. Most companies do it. I've done it with previous business as well, but ultimately we changed our business model and we operate, a very, very, very lean. We reinvest basically, everything that we make, we reinvest into inventory, and ultimately it catches up, in a positive way. I mean, that's just the way we like to do it. Again, there's so many different business models that you could use. And
you're able to sleep better at night, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
We're talking to Stephen Hirsch, owner of Biagi, on Radio for Small Business. Check it out on homeofbiz.com. Connect, capitalize, go. Stephen, we've already talked about the mindset of raising capital. We've even talked about what factors are when getting orders and things like that. Let's go back into, the raising capital, more of the mindset when you ended up on ABC's Shark Tank. What's going through your head, and what are you trying to get across to the sharks in order to cash that check?
My strategy with getting on the show, for getting on the show, not just for getting on the show, for having success on the show and trying to score a deal with one of the sharks, was basically to get a strategic partner. So I mentioned that we don't like to borrow money. The best alternative to that is to have a partner who not only can help you with the money, but could also add more to the business. Instead of just borrowing somebody, it could be somebody that helps you grow, like a bank will lend you money, and then and obviously that helps you for sure if you're going down that route 100%. Every business needs capital in order to operate, but, the next level is to really, I work with Lori Grenier, so not only does she invest in the company, but she also bought me some of my largest customers.
Wow.
No bank's going to do that for you.
And a lot of people don't think about that, right? So not only did she get a piece of the company, but it's like you said, she's motivated to go get more business for you. I know she's got the QVC stuff. She's got the Bed Bath & Beyond stuff. Can you talk more about the value of being able to have that value-add partner when it comes to bringing customers in the door? I
mean, first of all, in my case, I happen to have a celebrity partner. That helps me whenever I meet with retailers or other customers that I'm trying to sell to. Obviously, I could name drop, I guess, and that definitely helps because it gives credibility to what I do, that somebody like that is, interested enough in my business to invest and to be on board and help me sell, So the strategic partner doesn't have to be that, though. It doesn't have to be, a shark from Shark Tank. I mean, not that many people are get that opportunity. It could be anybody. It could be fulfillment, somebody who does your fulfillment or helps you with fulfillment. It could be a different kind of a partner who can help you grow your business in some way, shape, or form. And everybody's got to bring something to the table. That makes sense. We're talking to Stephen Hirsch with Biagi right here on Radio for Small Business at homeofbiz.com. He's already talked to us about raising capital, being on the Shark Tank, even borrowing, not having a business plan of borrowing, and then being able to factor as well. Stephen, with you guys' line of products, where are you seeing that the most people are liking it or loving it? What kind of feedback are you getting? We get great feedback. I mean, I have a very niche product. It's, luggage is a very broad category. It's not, people don't travel necessarily that often, and there's so many different kinds of products in the category, and we sell a very specialized product. So our customers are very loyal customers. These are people who really do, feel that we solve a problem for them, and we get a lot of repeat business, which is obviously the ultimate feedback and positive feedback that you could get. They're definitely loving it then. Stephen Hirsch, owner of Biagi. Biagi.com. How do you spell that? Biaggi.com. Okay, Biaggi.com. Stephen Hirsch, thanks for taking your time out here at homeofbiz.com. Thank you.
Connect, capitalize, go.
Hi, I'm Eugene Rowe, host of the podcast For Business. On behalf of our team, I'd like to say thanks. Every month, we're able to impact thousands of lives all over the globe with relevant, impactful, and insightful guests. Some of them have even been featured on national television shows like ABC's Shark Tank and CNBC's The Profit. Our mission is simple: to journey with you on your road to achievement. To do that, I'd like to invite you to partner with us in our Share All promise. I promise to continually share for free without commercial interruption and unnecessary subscriptions. And I ask that
Now, Eli Crane, owner of Bottle Breacher. Welcome to Radio for Small Business.
Thanks for having me. Great to be on.
Now, tell us a little bit about your background, because I use words like downrange and defender, so you got to tell everybody what you're all about.
I joined the Navy the week after 9/11 and spent 13 years in the Navy, the last 9 years in the Navy as a SEAL. I don't have a fancy business degree or anything like that, and, fortunately, I learned enough in the military that has really applied to business to where we've been able to be successful. So I consider myself really fortunate for that.
So obviously, we see all the documentaries, we see the movies about U.S. Navy SEALs and things like that. What percentage or how much of that training actually, bred you to make sure you were going to be successful in business as well?
A ton of it did. I mean, the first things first is they teach you accountability there. A lot of us think that we're grown up and mature, and then you get into a pressure cooker like SEAL training, and you realize that, I'm really not as mature as I thought I was. They teach you right off the bat that excuses don't mean anything. We don't want to hear your excuses. We don't care why you're late. We don't care why you didn't make your time. And, that really translates over into business, because you can have all the excuses in the world for why your product, business, or your service isn't doing good. But at the end of the day, if you're not making money, then, you're going to be out of business really soon. That was definitely valuable. The whole leadership thing was very valuable. Lead at every level. As special operators, we go into some of the most violent cities in the world, sometimes with, 4 guys, sometimes 10 guys. And when you're doing that, you have to know that your leadership might get taken out, injured, or killed. And so you have to know how to lead, step up, and, take care of business. And that's been hugely important in Bottle Breacher. There's a bunch of other things, and we could talk for hours on it, but those are just a few of the things that I've taken from the SEAL teams and applied to business.
Well, first of all, we've been talking to Eli Crane, owner of Bottle Breacher. Eli, thanks for your service as a member of the U.S. Navy and the Navy SEAL, so we definitely thank you for that. Of course, here to talk to you today about your business, Bottle Breacher. Now, Bottle Breacher, that itself sounds exciting. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So I started this business out of my one-car garage in San Diego. I was honestly just trying to make something cool. When I realized I was onto something and then my buddies loved it, we were taking 50 caliber.
It's helping us, anybody that needs to breach a bottle.
Better known.
Most of the product is actually made by U.S. veterans and U.S. citizens, right?
Yeah, so we have, it's just to be completely upfront, we're not, our business isn't completely operated by veterans. We hire as many as we can.
Gotcha.
Right now we have 7 working for us, and so we're pretty proud of that fact. And all of our products are made right here in the USA, and we're extremely proud of that.
That's pretty awesome. In fact, I know that went over well when you were on ABC's Shark Tank, right? And you were on there pitching capital. A lot of people think that show is just about a game show, but in essence, you were raising capital for your business. Can you talk about the mentality, the thought process that took you up to deciding to do that show?
Well, anybody that would sit there and watch a Shark Tank and think that it's just a reality TV show, first of all, I'll say this. We were projecting $800,000 in sales in 2014. Before the Shark Tank. After the Shark Tank, we did over $5 million. So if people don't think that it's a real show and that it adds real value, then you're sadly mistaken, first of all.